CD 7.
No one pays me much attention as I hurry along the wide boulevards, not having any real sense of where I am going. I have in mind to find a department store, grab a few things from there, but I'm conscious that my cash isn't going to last forever, and I'm concerned now that none of the cards I have will work. Most of them I picked up in Thailand from drunken Brits who'd been waving them at the distractingly pretty staff. I got 3 in one night, all from the same crowd of idiotic rugby lads who really should have known better. I had developed a foolproof scam of standing close to them while they tapped their PIN into the card reader, then pretended I'd been jostled into them, grabbing their waist to stop myself falling over, sliding a hand into their pocket to remove the freshly used card. In most cases, they'd wait until the next day before cancelling, so I was able to withdraw the maximum, twice. I kept the cards as souvenirs, and I marked them with a code on my little piece of paper, the code being a quick drawing of the place I'd taken it or the person that I'd taken it from. I stopped doing it for a while when I met Sam. I'd assumed I wouldn't need to, and that he would be happy to pay for things for me. But that was just something else I got wrong about him. I have no idea where I am, but I don't feel like I am in the main hub of the city yet. So far, Moscow is not nearly as pretty as I'd imagined. The streets are grey, the buildings nondescript. I'm not sure what I expected, but I know that when I get to the river and Red Square and St. Peter's Basilica, it will look like all the photographs I have seen online over the years. So far, it's not unlike Irkutsk. Harsh apartment blocks, small, soulless squares, bored-looking people sitting on benches, unapologetically drinking from cans of beer or bottles of vodka. The people I pass are hurried, drab and uninterested. Where are the glamorous hooker types, like the girls at the party? I turn the corner, and there is a row of sad-looking shops, the signs old and faded. Even the mannequins in the windows look bored. But the clothes look half-decent, and I imagine them to be cheaper here than in the centre, so I go into the one with the least depressing display. The assistant doesn't look up from the counter, but I'm getting used to this now. I walk around the edge of the shop, trailing a hand across the hanging garments, stopping occasionally to push the hangers back and pull something out for a better look. I choose a simple cotton dress, navy blue with an anchor pattern, which at home I would laugh at, but somehow seems fitting here. I wander into the centre of the store where a variety of shoes are on display, none of them particularly nice, but neither are they particularly awful. I lift up a tan ankle boot, checking for the price on the sole. It just happens to be my size. And the other one is there too, not a common occurrence in any decent shop in case you pilfer them. I genuinely hadn't come in here to steal anything. But the assistant hasn't even looked up yet, never mind greeted me, and a small ball of annoyance bounces up my gullet, a burning lump in my throat. I'm sick of being ignored, of being sneered at. I could just pay for the dress and the boots and be on my way, but what's the point? I'd be far better keeping my dwindling cash reserves for other things. I take a breath, then ask loudly, "Do you have this dress in a medium?" She looks up, then looks me up and down. She mutters something in Russian, then disappears through the back. I don't think about it any longer. Don't consider that she might have a big, burly boyfriend waiting through there ready to pounce. I quickly roll the boots inside the dress and stuff it under my arm like a rugby ball. Then I hastily leave the shop. My heart starts pounding as I skip down the few steps, and then I start to run. Still no idea where I am. I run across the street and around the corner, and then I just keep running, faster than I've run for a very long time. I didn't even glance back before the shop was out of sight. I have no idea if she is currently calling the police or if she has even returned from the back of the shop, but I don't care. My lungs burn, my thighs burn, and I just pump my legs harder, but only one arm so I don't drop my illicit wares. Eventually, when I can't run any further, I stop, letting the clothes fall to the ground. I lean forwards, panting hard, trying to catch a breath, and then I start laughing. I stand, glancing behind me, but no one is there. No one has followed. I laugh until my chest feels like it might burst, until tears are running down my face. When I've managed to compose myself, I walk across the road to one of the small drinks kiosks, and I realise then that I am on the banks of the river. The Moskva is vast and grey, and I gaze down at it for a moment, the river that gave the city its name. Then I point to a small bottle of vodka. The kiosk worker hands it to me in a brown bag and says something I don't understand. I hand him the cash, and then I head over to a bench facing the river, and I sit down, and finally, I relax. Chapter 31. Glancing up and down the murky river, I spot the big wheel of a fairground on the other side, and realise that it must belong to the famous Gorky Park, and the Scorpion song Winds of Change immediately starts playing inside my head, lifting my mood. I'm not a fan of fairgrounds in general, but I've had just enough vodka to think that it might be fun. I'm bored on my own after the initial buzz of the shoplifting and the running, and I definitely don't want to go back to my hotel alone right now. I have a quick look around me, hoping that there might be somewhere I can change into my new clothes. A public toilet with wash facilities would be preferable, but in the absence of that, anywhere nearby. I settle for the shade of a tree. I'm not exactly concealed, but I don't really care. I pull off my sweaty, grubby clothes and ball them up. Then I step into the dress, sliding it up over my hips, twisting my arm behind my back to do up the zip. I smooth the material over my thighs, swish the material back and forth. It's a perfect fit. I take off my filthy sandals and pull on the ankle boots without socks. I need a mirror to sort out my hair and face, but I look better than I did before. I head off along the riverbank, tossing the old clothes into the water without looking back. Carrie is hardly going to miss that top now. I cross the river at Krimsky Bridge and enter the gates of the fairground. It's one of those places where you don't pay to get in and just buy tokens for the rides. I listen to the rattle of the ancient roller coaster and the shrieks from the people riding it, and decide to give it a miss. There is something very out of control about roller coasters, and I'll never understand why people go on them. I'd rather be in charge of my own adrenaline surges, with much more thrilling activities. What happened in Irkutsk has awakened something in me that I'd thought was safely buried away. I'm like a vampire, laying dormant for years until the smell of blood has me wanting more. Of course, I like to try and convince myself that all the things that have happened to me over the years have been accidents, but in an occasional moment of honesty, I recognise what they really are. What I really am. I take a swig of the vodka and realise that I've nearly finished the whole bottle, and I can't help but laugh. What must I look like to others? Bedraggled hair from the run, out-of-place clothing, swaying slightly from the alcohol, laughing to myself in a park. Mothers with children swerve to avoid me, throwing me filthy looks. A couple of men leer at me in that way I've noticed here many times now. They don't care if I'm drunk, if I stink of booze and sweat, if I'm vulnerable. They'll fuck me if I ask them to. What they don't realise is that I don't actually care about fucking them, or talking to them, or anything else. What they don't realise is that I am looking for something that none of them can give me. A traitorous tear slides down my cheek, and I wipe it angrily away. Then I toss the vodka bottle into a bin and ignore the staring children and the snotty mums and head over to a row of colourful stalls on the other side of the park. By the time I get there, I've pushed the tears and the regrets back into their box, and I'm feeling a bit brighter. I stop to look at the items that have been arranged neatly in rows according to height. Babushka dolls, some out on display as the full set of 7, the rest of them with their interlocking babies safely stored inside. They are painted in every colour under the sun, with different faces, different styles of dress. There are even novelty ones with faces of celebrities and politicians. When they see me looking, the stall holders start to demonstrate with their dolls, twisting them apart, taking out each nested doll from within, setting them out in a row, like ducklings following their mother. It's mesmerising and joyful, and I feel another wave of deeply hidden emotions threatening to push themselves up and out of me. A wave of panic and dizziness hits me, and for a moment, all of the dolls seem to be unnesting themselves, coming towards me, circling me. And I take a step back and try to breathe, but it's too hard to catch my breath. My throat starts to close up, and the light around me begins to shrink until there's nothing but a pinprick. There is chattering in Russian, and shrieks of children, and the clatter of the old roller coaster as it whizzes around above my head, and I feel myself falling. Blackness taking over, and I want it to end. And then, arms, grabbing my arms, someone talking in my ear. I feel weightless, and then I feel nothing. I come to on a bench, my head between my legs, staring down at cracked concrete. Someone is rubbing my back. "Hey, you're back. You kind of scared me a bit then." I don't know who this is. I turn my head slowly in the direction of the voice. American, I think, or it could be Canadian. I can't really tell the difference. "Hey, yourself," I manage. My mouth feels like sandpaper, tastes like shit. I sit up slowly and wriggle away slightly so he stops rubbing my back. "Do you need to be sick? Here, I got you some water." He hands me a plastic bottle, the cap already off, and in other times I would query this as being very unsafe, but right now I need water. And if he's decided to drug me, then good on him, because I'm not too scared of oblivion. I've often thought that date rape drugs are the best way to go, because if you can't remember what happened, then did it really happen at all? More rational people would question this logic, but I am long past any form of rationale. I gulp the water down and sit up. "Who are you, then? My guardian angel?" He laughs. I'm Brad. I saw you pass out and I thought you might need a friend. He's being nice, and I should thank him. But part of me remains deeply cynical about people who like to help. What's in it for him? I give him a proper once-over and decide that a lot could be in it for him, as it happens, and maybe for me. He's late 30s, fresh-faced, well-dressed, in that preppy kind of way that I wouldn't normally go for, but that screams money. And that is really the prevailing thought in my head right now. Look, he continues. This might sound really creepy, so feel free to tell me where to go, but my hotel is just there. He pauses and points through the trees at a towering concrete block next to the river. And maybe you could do with some place to get cleaned up. Have a lie down? Cleaned up? I'd like to be offended, but I can actually smell myself through the clean clothes, and it's not particularly fragrant. I should tell him where to go, just for his assumptions. I was clean before I came out, wasn't I? This is obviously a combination of the sprinting, the adrenaline come down, and the vodka leaching out of my pores. I should tell him where to go. And I should head back to my own hotel and sleep, but instead I say, "That's very kind of you. I'm staying in a crappy hostel, and it would be nice to go somewhere nicer for a while." He squeezes my shoulder. See? That's exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking, this girl is backpacking. This girl would just love to come and see the massive tub in my ensuite. Am I right? He grins, displaying his perfect white veneers, and I think, I know your type, Brad, but I can handle it. Then he stands up and holds out a hand for me to take, and I take it, like some grateful little college girl, so pleased to be with this handsome man. And I think how much I am going to enjoy the rest of the afternoon. And not for any reason, he thinks. Chapter 32. It turns out that Brad is staying in the Royal Bolshoi Plaza, which is considerably plusher than my hotel. So in some ways, I'm not even lying about how nice it would be to have some proper luxury. The staff here are well-groomed and slick, and none of them bats an eyelid as we walk past the desk. I'm sure in my hotel there would have been a hint of a sneer at least after their snotty non-welcome when I checked in. Brad calls the lift using his keycard, then extends a hand as the doors slide open. "After you, honey," he says with a wink. I get a strange little chill then. Not sure why. But something makes me think that Brad, if that's even his name, has done this before. The way he's rescued me and brought me back here seemed a little too easy. Or maybe that's just because of my own messed up head. If I hadn't passed out like that, I fully intended to swipe at least one of those babushka dolls. Not because I even want one, but because I'd enjoyed the thrill of the earlier shoplifting and fancied another buzz. The effects of the vodka have worn off now, and it doesn't appear that Brad has tried to drug me. Yet. I'm in dire need of another lift. I'm running on fumes now. I don't even know when I last ate. I purposely turn my back to the mirror in the lift, because I don't really want to see myself right now. And I'm amused, but not surprised, that Brad uses the 30 seconds or so until we reach his floor to check himself out. What exactly does he want from me? Someone like him, good-looking, money, flash hotel. If he wants a bit of rough, he could pay for one better than me. I could be anyone. He clearly has no qualms at all about inviting strange women into his room. He grins at me, as if reading my mind. You're probably thinking I do this sort of thing all the time, but I don't. Honestly. The doors slide open and he gestures for me to step out. Then he follows and the doors slide shut again. In fact, he continues, taking his keycard back out of his pocket again, I'm happy to leave you in the room to have a bath or whatever. I can go down to the bar. Come and join me whenever you like. He turns left along the corridor and I follow. The walls are papered with a shimmering gold. The burgundy carpet, adorned with a gold-crested pattern, is soft and spongy beneath the thin soles of my boots. It's been a while since I've worn anything other than hiking boots or thick rubber-soled sandals. I'm not used to feeling the surfaces that I'm walking on. When we reach his room, he swipes the card and the sensor glows green. The door opens with a little click and I follow him inside. The far side of the room is floor-to-ceiling windows with an incredible view of the river and the park beyond. Half of me wonders if he was watching me from here, then hurried down when he saw I was in distress. Is this the kind of thing that Brad would do? Given that I don't know him at all, I have no idea. All I do know, as is now confirmed, is that he is clearly very rich. Make yourself at home, he says, grinning. I'll go downstairs. I decide to call his bluff. Thanks so much. I really appreciate this. I glance around the room, taking it all in. He has a fancy slim laptop on the desk. Expensive jackets hang in the wardrobe, the door left open for me to see. I promise I won't steal anything. His grin drops just for a moment, then it's back. He laughs, but it sounds hollow. Good one. Actually, he sits down on the plush gold velvet armchair that faces the window. Maybe I'll stay, if that's okay with you. I have some work to catch up on. Don't worry, the bathroom door has a lock. Oh, for fuck's sake. Maybe he hasn't done this before. Maybe he is just ridiculously nice and stupidly naive. I guess I'll go back to plan A, not that I had any other. I don't think that'll be necessary. Will it? I give him my best come-on smile. Let me go and freshen up. Maybe you can order us something to eat. I'm absolutely starving. Sure, he says, happy again. I'll get us some champagne, too. They have an excellent vintage Krug that goes perfectly with their lobster and caviar platter. Of course they do. Whatever you think, I say, pulling the bathroom door closed. Oh, I call from the other side. And when I come out, you can tell me all about yourself. I hear him laugh. You, too, sweetheart. You know I don't even know your name. After a very brief pause, I reply, It's Carrie. I decide on a shower rather than a bath, and I think about calling on him, asking him to join me, but decide against it. It's Carrie I think of as I soap my body with the expensive shower gel. It's Sam's face that I see when I close my eyes, letting the strong shower jets course over my skin. I work myself into a frenzy, but then I stop, holding back. I need to leave a little bit for Brad. I rough dry my hair and comb my fingers through it. Then I use some of Brad's toothpaste to finger brush my teeth, gargling with a cold glass of water to freshen my mouth. I slip on one of the fluffy white robes and give myself a quick glance in the mirror. My skin is pink from the heat. My hair looks better now that it's damp. The doorbell goes as I am about to walk out of the bathroom, and I hold back to let Brad deal with it. I hear the sound of a trolley being wheeled inside, low voices, the door closing again, then the sound of a bottle chinking in ice, and I open the door. Brad is in his underpants, running a finger under the foil on the champagne bottle. His eyes flick up to my face, then down the robe, and he tilts his head to one side, then holds up a hand and opens 2 fingers, grins. I run a hand down the front of the robe and prise it open just a little. Not enough for him to see anything. Not yet. He's going to have to do better than that. But it was enough to confirm my earlier suspicions. He has definitely done this before. He is confident, bordering on arrogant, and he is trying to hide it under a knight in shining armor facade. Suddenly, I have a flashback to the room in Irkutsk. Sergei's grunting face as he pounded himself into Carrie. Carrie too weak from that stupid drug she'd smoked to fight him off. A wave of revulsion skitters over my skin, leaving goosebumps. The robe falls open to the waist. Brad grins, holding up the bottle, and the cork pops. What a fucking cliché. I don't want to be here. I shouldn't be here. I was supposed to be careful after what happened in Irkutsk. I was supposed to keep a low profile. Keep myself to myself. I shouldn't be getting involved with anyone else. I should not be in this room. Brad pours the champagne into 2 flutes and takes a step towards me. He hands out one of the flutes to me and holds the other aloft. Cheers, he says. To you, Carrie. It's the way he says it. The way he doesn't believe that it's my name. Isn't this just perfect? Then he makes a fatal mistake. He turns away to look out of the window, still trying to impress me with this view that he has bought before he plies me with champagne and caviar and makes me suck his filthy cock. You're just the same as the others, aren't you, Brad? I swing the champagne bottle like a baseball bat at the perfect spot on the back of his head. He literally doesn't know what's hit him. He falls to his knees, still gripping the flute. And then he tips forwards, his hands thrust in front of him, and there is a strange gurgling sound as his face hits the floor. He starts, as if he's been electrocuted or is having some sort of a fit, and an arc of blood jets out from under him. It takes me a moment to realise that he has landed on the flute, and that it has smashed under him, impaling him like a chunk of chicken on a skewer. Moscow to Berlin. Flight. Chapter 33. Thankfully, I still have my own ID to get on the plane. I'd felt a moment of panic at the immigration desk, Wondered if my passport might have a flag on it, but after a moment of jobs-worthy page flicking, the po-faced guard stamped it and pushed it back under the glass. Ivan had been seriously unimpressed with my latest request for him. I'd called him from my mobile while still in Brad's room. He'd been enjoying a rare day off after working 24 hours straight on a job that he'd flown here to do after he'd dealt with my little problem in Irkutsk, while I'd been idling away my time on the train for 3 days. I didn't ask him about the job. I know from my own experience that he is far more than just a taxi driver. It had taken him less than 2 minutes to break into the bedroom safe, finding Brad's passport and visa documents, his credit cards and wads of cash. "Another wolf," Ivan had said, impassively flicking through the pile of US dollars. I nodded. "I told you before, lots of them about." He sighed. "Oh, you need to get out of my country, little pig. You are a very dangerous person. This is going to be a very, tricky job for me to do, you understand? Very difficult, very expensive." I wanted to protest. "It was an accident, that's all. Okay, so I had hit him with the bottle, but that's because I'd realised what he was. I'd seen beneath his skin. The wolf in handsome man clothing. All I wanted to do was knock him out for long enough for me to get into the safe and then get out of there. I'd planned to take the laptop too. I reckoned it was worth at least $1,000 and would be easy to flog." Ivan had tossed the bedspread over the top of Brad so that we didn't need to see him, and while he continued to count the cash, I let the robe fall off me and climbed into the bed under the sheet. I smiled as Ivan looked up, pausing his counting. He muttered something in Russian that I assume was a swear word. Then he sighed. "Very nice, little pig, but no time for this, not even for you." I stuck out my bottom lip, mock offended. "Then how am I going to pay you?" He held up the cash and the laptop. "I give you enough to get plane ticket and to get the fuck out of here. Now." His voice was harsh, and for the first time I felt a little afraid of him. I'd thought I had him wrapped around my finger, but he was always the one in charge. I realised that now. It would have been easy for him to kill me, to get rid of me and all of the mess I'd caused, but for some reason he let me go free. Perhaps he felt sorry for me. I almost got myself lost on the way back to my hotel to grab my stuff, nearly freaked out on the confusing Moscow metro with its circular map crossed with far too many snaking lines, the signs all in Cyrillic and not having a clue which direction I was going in. But a kindly couple had taken pity on me, and I'd had a flash of a memory to Steve and Marion Street, Carrie's friends from the train. We were supposed to meet them in Red Square, and I wondered if they turned up, if they expected us to be there too. The tears are flowing now as I strap on my seatbelt, preparing for takeoff. I'm trying not to think about everything that's happened, but it's impossible. I close my eyes, wishing I could transport myself back to the start before all of this began. The tannoy announcement starts, and I open my eyes. I don't even know what the start is. The plane picks up speed on the runway, and I grip onto the armrests, barely aware that I am doing it. The smartly dressed woman next to me leans over, bringing a cloud of cloying perfume and a soft Welsh accent. "I used to be such an awful flyer," she says, rolling her eyes and handing me a wrapped caramel sweet. "But since I started with this meditation app, it's really helped." She shows me her phone. the app open, a lilac pulsing light taking up the screen. She hands me an earbud, and it feels churlish to refuse. I push it into my ear, and the soothing sounds of waterfalls come through the tiny speaker. She pats my hand, and I give her a small smile. Let her think I'm a bad flyer. If only that was the truth. If only that was the only thing that was wrong with me. Don't be nice to me, I think. Nothing good will ever come of it. Berlin, Chapter 34. The first thing I realise when I land at Berlin Schönfeld Airport is that I have no euros to get myself into the city. I can probably jump on the S-Bahn without paying, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do when I get there. I have no contacts here, nowhere to stay. For the first time in a very long time, I feel a little afraid. What happened in Irkutsk and then in Moscow, I hadn't expected things to take such a dark turn. I'm grateful to Ivan for sorting everything for me and leaving me enough cash to buy a plane ticket out of there, but even he had looked at me with disgust in the end. He doesn't understand. No one does. Things have happened to me over the years. Ever since I was a little girl, it seems that I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. That misunderstandings and accidents have happened around me, and somehow I've been to blame. I know that this is why my mother was so horrible to me, tried to push me away. But Daddy never did. After that horrible incident with Ophelia Morgan in sixth form, I was as traumatised as everyone else. But for some reason, I was eyed with suspicion, just because I happened to be there when she decided to jump off the clock tower. I'd been trying to coax her down, not wind her up. But then it all happened so fast. Daddy paid the Morgans off so that they wouldn't investigate further, and I had to leave school just before my final exams, but I didn't care about that. What I cared about was how everyone was so quick to judge. Ophelia had been my friend. Okay, so it had to be in secret because the rest of her stupid little clique hadn't approved, but that doesn't make it any less real. It was real to Ophelia, and it was real to me. I'm not sure I've ever really gotten over that. Daddy was the only one who gave me support, stepping in when Mummy stepped back. He was the practical one. He'd accepted my grief without question. He'd sorted everything out. When I left home, I tried hard not to call on him for anything more, knowing how much it upset my mother, but I'd had to call him after Michael, and I realised that I'm going to have to call him now. Thankfully, my mobile still has charge. I drop my rucksack onto the floor and sit down on top of it. It's midday, so that means it's 11 a.m. back home. Too early for golf, but he might be in a meeting. The phone rings a few times, and I'm about to give up when he answers. His breathing is fast, rasping, as if he has had to move quickly to grab the phone before it rang off. I try to picture him in his office, or maybe he was in the kitchen making tea. Mother would be out at one of her classes, I imagine. Not that she would answer the phone anyway, if she saw my name flash up on the display. His breathing slows at last, and then there is a small sigh before he says, "Veronica, is that you?" I open my mouth to speak, but suddenly my throat is constricted and tears start to fall. Hearing his voice like this, I have so many memories. I have a dull ache in my stomach, a sudden, intense longing to be at home. Back in the mansion in the countryside, surrounded by fields and flowers and fresh air. Away from this place, this too bright, echoing space filled with adrenaline and anxiety and too many chattering voices. It's me, Daddy. How are you? He lets out a longer sigh now, slow, steady. I imagine him slumping down onto the sofa in his office, sinking into the squashy, cracked leather. That sofa is older than me, and I had always loved sitting there, curled up, watching him work at his wide desk, framed by a picture window looking out onto the manicured lawn and the open fields behind.
Where are you, Veronica? We've been very worried.
No need to worry, I say, cutting him off. I hold the phone away from me for a moment while I sniff and wipe my face quickly with the back of my hand. I don't want him to think I'm upset. I can't be upset. He's always said that I am so strong. I'm in Berlin, I tell him. I considered lying, but he does need to know where I am if he's going to be able to help me. Not sure how long I'll be here. Thing is...
How much do you need?
It's my turn to sigh. Is this all we are now? Two people who only speak when one of them needs money, and one of them being me? Thing is, I start again. I've actually lost my bank cards. This isn't a lie. Ivan made me get rid of every single one, cut them up and burned them and threw the ashes in the Moskva. It's like he knew that what happened in Irkutsk wasn't the first time. I mean, of course he'd know. Any normal person would have called the police. I hear the sound of a keyboard tapping down the phone.
I can arrange a new card and account at Targo Bank, the branch on Friedrichstrasse. Can you get yourself there?
Yes,
Good.
His voice is clipped, the warmth of his initial greeting gone.
I need to get on, Veronica. I've got important meetings today. Your mother will be home soon.
Subtext: your mother will be home soon, and I need this transaction dealt with before she comes back and finds out what I am doing. I get it. Thank you, Daddy. I'll pay you back soon, I promise. I'm thinking of coming home. The keyboard tapping stops, and I hear the sound of a door slamming shut.
Don't come home, Veronica. Goodbye.
He cuts the connection before I can reply. Shit. I just hope he puts enough money in the account so that I don't have to call him again. I'm annoyed with my brief moment of vulnerability, but the sound of the door slamming pushed it away. He won't tell my mother that he spoke to me. As far as she's concerned, I no longer exist. I slide my phone back into the front pocket of my bag, then lift it back up and hoist it onto my back. I'm sick of this travelling now. I want a bit of luxury for a change. I watch people push expensive wheeled cases over the concourse, glamorous women in high heels tapping on the marble floor. Over at the cash machines, people are fumbling with small travel bags, stuff wads of notes into hidden pockets, and I think for a moment about strolling over and robbing someone while they faff around with their wallets, but I decide against it. It feels riskier here somehow, Despite everything that's happened to me in one of the most dangerous countries in the world, I actually feel more intimidated here, in this airport. It would be much easier for me to be extradited from here, and I'd rather not take the risk. I follow the signs for the trains and hope that they haven't changed their security systems since I was here last, when there were no barriers and rarely any guards doing spot checks. There are electronic adverts on various screens as I walk towards the train platform, advertising the Western Grand, and I decide that it must be fate. I wait for the correct train and jump on. It's a much easier system to navigate than in Moscow, and with a quick change, I am there. The Französische Straße U-Bahn stop is right next to the hotel, and I'm pleased with myself for getting here without any bother. There were no guards, as I suspected, and no one really paid me any attention. I'd like to go straight into the hotel. The glass frontage and the properly attired doorman are much better than that Soviet flea pit I had to blag my way into in Moscow. That was a blip, and I'm over it now. Back in charge of things. Or at least I will be when I get my money. I quickly Google the bank where Daddy has arranged my new card, and I'm pleased to see it's only a couple of streets away. It's almost like he knew I would come to stay here. It's the last place we visited, as a family, and despite it being many years ago, I do remember it fondly. I imagine my mother would have a different view. If I remember rightly, there's a Ritter Sport chocolate shop not far from here. It's been too long since I had any decent chocolate. I'm walking up the street when I have a flashback to the very first night on the train, when we left Beijing for UB and everything was still fun. I'd been dozing on the bunk, enjoying the rhythm of the train sending me to sleep, but then I'd realised that Carrie was meant to be coming back with cups of tea for us. I found her in the dining car, squeezed into a booth seat with a bunch of people wearing beige and brown tour company t-shirts, all with little shot glasses of vodka in front of them. Carrie was in her element, hands waving in front of her as she regaled them with something hilarious that made them all laugh. One of them sensed me staring, and there was silence for a moment, and Carrie turned and saw me, her smile lighting up her face. "Violet, there you are. Come and join us. We're discussing the best chocolate in the world. This is Steve and his wife Marion, and this is George and his friend Sandra and her sister Maud." She's babbling away, and the others are muttering hellos and giving me little waves. And I remember feeling that stab of annoyance right there and then. No, I'd thought. Carrie is my friend. This is our trip. They're all talking over each other, saying Cadbury's or Swiss or Belgian, and it's unanimous that they all think that American chocolate tastes like sick, except for peanut butter cups. Stop! I shout, and they all do. Mouths hanging open. I hadn't meant to shout, but the noise was too much, frittering around my brain, and I was sick of their inane chatter. I wanted a proper conversation with Carrie in our cabin about life and love and things that matter. But I could see the look on her face. That wary look that I've seen people get before, and I realised my mistake. So while they're all still staring at me, mouths agape, I gestured to the barmaid to bring more drinks, and I said in a stage whisper, "I'm sorry, but you're all completely mad. Everyone knows that the Germans make the best chocolate. Have you never had Ritter?" And then the babbling starts again, and the drinks arrive, and Gary grins up at me, and I know I've got away with it. For now.
Hey, watch it!
A short guy in a tight suit bumps me out of the way. And I realise I've daydreamed my way all along the street. Somehow, on some inbuilt autopilot, I've made it to the bank. It's useful when your father is a real VIP, with fingers in many businesses and banks around the world. I catch sight of myself in the shiny metal entrance next to the glass doors. I look bedraggled and in need of some proper attention. All I need to do now is pick up my card, draw some cash, and then I can sort everything out. Hair, clothes, proper hotel. Everything is going to be just fine. It always is. Chapter 35. It feels good to be wearing new clothes. I chose the orange and yellow halter-neck dress with a pair of black strappy sandals. I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror in the hotel lobby, and at first I thought I was looking through a window at someone else. The blonde highlights shimmer as I move slowly from side to side, catching myself under the myriad of lights. I'm usually wary of using stylists in foreign countries, but it's like she looked into me and saw who I really am and gave me the look to reflect it. I remember the little card she handed me at the till, scribbling her name on it for me so I'd know who to use again. She gave me a look, too, appraising, intrigued. Perhaps I'll contact her, see if she fancies having cocktails with me. She looked like a cocktail sort. From what I've seen of the city so far, the styles fall into two distinct camps. If you exclude the tourists, of course, that kind of industrial grunge freaknik vibe with the crazy colours and the piercings and the tattoos, and then the other vibe, the more Parisian-type style. I wonder if the Berliners would be offended by the comparison. Designer dresses and expensive highlights, perfect nails and Instagrammable entertainment habits. I could have chosen either way, but I am sick of feeling grubby and cheap. I don't want to pour my own Stein and Wolfgang Bratwurst. I have gone for elegance. But, just like Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman when she's finally managed to get herself a fancy dress and a classy chignon, I am not what I look like in the mirror. The hairdresser has chosen to see a certain version of me, a version that I have chosen to reveal to her. The real me is much more difficult to define. I tilt my head, give myself a small, coy smile. The version of me smiles back. I am ready. I check Sam's FB one more time while I wait for the doorman to hail me a cab. His last check-in was the Roofer Club in Mitte several hours ago, and since then there have been several photographs posted. Fancy multicoloured drinks and expensive glassware adorned with exotic fruits, delicious bite-sized canapes on gilt-edged trays, a plethora of greenery and luscious-looking plants with an array of pretty blooms. And then there's Sam, looking tanned and oh so handsome, lounging on leather sofas with a selection of beautiful people, his friends, or just others sitting nearby. The women are gorgeous, with just the right level of potential sluttiness, and I wonder if one of them is his girlfriend. Not that it matters. because when he sees me, he will surely disregard these vacant impostors. It has been a few weeks since he last saw me, and I've lost some weight, making my collar and cheekbones more prominent. My hair, my clothes, my makeup, all expertly styled. Quite different from the sweaty, slovenly beach look that he last saw me in. I scroll through the photos. Some are not his. He is tagged by someone, Bethany, and I wonder if she is the one who has stolen him from me. Not for long, Bethany. Your fun is over now. I don't want to make a scene. I want to glide in there and watch his jaw drop. I want him to see me. I want him to want me. The doorman opens the door of the yellow cab and I climb in, depositing €1 into his palm and smiling at him. A few people outside the hotel peer over at me, wondering if I am someone special, my attire and my elegance giving the impression that I'd hoped. I am no one, of course, but as long as I act like I am a princess, then they will believe it. Like Cinderella, I might only be a princess for one night, but I shall go to the ball. The driver asks me where I want to go, and I tell him the address in perfect German. He glances in his rearview mirror, smiles.
Where are you from?
He asks, in German. I pretend not to understand, give him a small shrug, then I stare out of the window. He gets the message and doesn't try to engage with me again. Thankfully, the traffic isn't too bad, and I continue to stare out of the window, taking in the sights. The river Spree is murky and grey and not at all appealing, but from what I have read about the area, there are some beaches where the water looks cleaner, more alluring. I watch a tourist boat trundling along, leaving trails of white foam in its wake. We stop at traffic lights, the cutesy Ampelmansion sign switching from green to red as pedestrians start to cross. A girl in shorts carrying a backpack skirts past the car, and for a brief moment my heart stops. I watch her retreating form, see the tattoo of a snake sliding down from her shorts, and I know it's not her. Carrie didn't have any tattoos, and she would never get one so vulgar. Besides, she can't be here. Not here. She only exists now inside my mind. A beautiful memory that one day will start to fade. The car carries on for another block, and then it pulls in to the side. €20, the driver says. I take the money from my purse. We're here. I am going to see Sam. My heart starts fluttering in my chest as I step out of the car. Of course he was going to end up here in Berlin with his new German mates. But it's lucky I checked his Facebook in the cab to the airport in Moscow, or I'd have ended up flying somewhere completely pointless and random. As it is, it feels like fate. I can't wait to see him again. I take in the grand entrance, the potted palms, the sharply dressed doorman. The entrance is in stark contrast to the grungier buildings that sit alongside, and I wonder if they are trying to be ironic, having this blingy venue in the punky East. Or perhaps everything is starting to become one amorphous lump, losing its identity. That's something I can relate to, as it happens. Where is the party? I say again in my perfect German.
Rooftop,
says one doorman, giving me a lascivious sneer as he opens the huge glass doors. I smile and glide in, looking like any other girl that is meant to be there. Looking like I belong. Chapter 36. The doors of the glass elevator slide open, and I take a lurid peach martini from a tuxedoed waiter holding a tray. I think I get this place now. The ride up had revealed that most of the floors were bare, random pieces of old furniture, scuffed floors and walls covered in mouldy, peeling paint. Someone has had the idea of turning the top floor into a luxurious hedonist's dream. The transparent walls of the lift exist solely to show the guests what was there before, to make them feel elite. It's an artwork of sorts, and I try to be impressed. But as I glance around the space, taking in the types of people that are in here, drinking, laughing, sizing each other up, I have a feeling that most of them probably don't really get it. I take a sip of my drink, then walk across to a high glass bar. The whole frontage is completely see-through, highlighting the bare legs of the staff serving on the other side. Above the bar level, they are in crisp white shirts and black bow ties. Underneath, their toned, hair-free legs are on full display beneath their skimpy white underpants. I feel a wave of disgust at this and try hard not to look beneath the counter, but at their faces and their torsos, at their expert hands holding Diamante-encrusted cocktail shakers, high-pouring into rows of different-shaped glasses. A man in an open-necked cream linen shirt, artfully half-tucked into dark, perfectly fitted jeans, walks towards me, a look of interest and intrigue on his face as he runs a hand through his floppy blonde hair. Here we go, I think, and drain the rest of my drink. There are pros and cons of dressing to fit your environment, and sadly, this is one of the cons. On another night, I might have been interested in him, but tonight there's only one man for me. I turn away from the approaching man and scan the room for Sam, but I can't see him. I'm not worried, not yet. I don't think he will have left while the party is in full swing, and judging by the layout, I expect there are some hidden nooks and crannies for me to explore.
Well, good evening,
the blonde man drawls. He is not German, but I can't place his accent yet. Hello, I say, making sure to look him in the eye. Nice party. He smirks.
Glad you approve.
He holds out a hand, which is strangely formal in this setting, but I take it anyway and try to hide my confusion.
Sorry,
he says, stepping back again, that smirk still firmly fixed on his face.
I'm not sure we've met.
Oh, I give him a brief, girlish giggle, sure that this is what he wants. A friend invited me. I think he's already here. He laughs.
Did he now? Funny, it was specific on the invites that this was not a +1 situation. But as you're here,
he pauses, looks me up and down.
I'm not going to turn away a pretty girl.
I don't like the way he's looking at me now. And in my peripheral vision, I spot a couple of extremely glammed-up girls in the shortest, tightest dresses I've ever seen. Perfect cleavage spilling over the top and endless legs on expensive heels below. One of them widens her eyes, and the other gives the tiniest of head shakes. And I realize that I may have made a huge mistake. Perhaps I should go. I lay my empty glass on the bar and turn away, but he grabs my upper arm, a little tighter than I'd like, and spins me back to face him. He leans in close, pulling me in as if in an embrace, and whispers forcefully into my ear, "This is my party, little girl, and she'll stay now that you're here." Then he lets go of me and does an air kiss on each side, saying, "So amazing to see you again, Alyssa." And then he turns away and heads off towards a cluster of people who are grouped around the far end of the bar, whooping and chattering at the bar staff as if they are performing monkeys. Shaken, I wait for a moment more, then head towards the lift. But as I do, I spot him at the far end of the room, heading through a door that I'm sure I hadn't noticed before. Time seems to stand still for a moment as I watch him disappear through the gap, the door swinging back into place, fake bookshelf and all. If I wasn't rattled by my encounter with the horrible blonde, I would be rolling my eyes at the cheesiness of this hidden door setup. But right now, all I want to do is stay invisible for long enough to find the right time to go through it and confront the man who has been haunting my dreams since we parted ways almost 3 weeks ago. I take another of the peach drinks from a tray and walk slowly around the edge of the room, taking it all in. The women are very beautiful, but most of them are incredibly drunk, draped in pairs over far less attractive men. Then I spot the 2 girls from earlier as they glide in unison towards a table in the corner where one man sits, a bucket in front of him with a bottle of champagne, 3 glasses on the table next to it. They sit down on either side of him, and then they lean in and kiss his cheeks, as coordinated as synchronized swimmers. And that's when I realize that the women aren't guests. They are employees. Alyssa is who the arrogant host has decided I will be for the night. No. I turn away from the coordinated whores on my left and make my way across the room towards the secret door. No one has followed Sam up there, and I'm wondering if it's out of bounds, or maybe there will be some sort of keypad and I will end up getting caught and thrown out before I can get the one thing that I came here for. I glance around, trying to look casual, but also to make sure that no one is watching me.
End of CD 7. CD 8.
I recognise someone else. One of the German guys from the hotel in Bangkok. Of course. Sam wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for them. I wonder if they've offered him a job or something. Or maybe this awful host has. Maybe that's why he's here. I don't like to think of Sam mixed up in a place like this. I worry for a moment that I won't be able to locate the sensor to open the bookcase, but I needn't have panicked. As I walk slowly past a line of 5 red books clumped together purely for the colour of their spines rather than their content, a small green light blinks at the back of the shelf, and I reach in as if to take a book, and there is a small click, and then the door swings open. This time I don't bother to glance behind me. I just hurry through and hope that no one has noticed me going inside. As I walk slowly up the dark glass staircase, I take a breath, trying to calm the nerves that have had the cheek to make themselves known. I don't know why I am nervous. It must be because I am so excited to be seeing Sam again, and partly because I'm scared that he won't want to see me, and partly because I know I could be putting myself in danger. I have no idea what lies at the top of this staircase. This could be where people go for the real show, one of those sex parties that you hear about and can scarcely believe actually happen. but it's too late now. As I reach the top of the stairs, it becomes clear that I'm not entering another room. I'm going outside, onto a rooftop garden. It's dimly lit, with only fairy light bulbs pinned around the sides of the walls and a dark glass floor like the stairs. The space seems to be empty, and at first I think that there is no one up here at all, and that Sam must have gone back down another way. But then I hear noises. Soft snuffles and grunts, whispers and moans, and the rhythmic squeak of something moving against leather. I blink, trying to get my eyes to adjust to the light, and then I see that there are some small glass cabins in the middle of the roof space. The doors are closed, but the glass walls are clearly not soundproof. Maybe that's meant to add to the experience, knowing that whatever it is you are doing in your cabin, others are doing the same right beside you. Perhaps they can all see out of the glass, but I can't see in. Part of me wants to run back down the stairs and out of this place. The feeling of it is all wrong, just like that party in Irkutsk. But something is drawing me to investigate further before I go. I have to assume that Sam is inside one of these cabins, and I don't want to imagine what he is doing or what is being done to him. But on the other hand, I feel a stirring deep inside, and I realise that the whole thing is turning me on. I walk slowly past the cabins, trying not to make any sound, not letting my heels clip on the floor. There are more cabins at the back, but there are no doors on this side, so I can only assume that they are all linked, and I try to blink away further visions about what might be going on in there. Then I see him. He is standing on the far side of the roof space, leaning back against the wall. I see the silhouette of smoke curling above him against the inky sky. He sees me, and I see the flash of white teeth as he grins. He turns away and then hoists himself up onto the wall, sits.
"Hello,"
he says. He tips his head towards the cabins.
"Don't bother to try and coerce me, darling. It's not really my scene."
I swallow. He doesn't recognise me from here. I can make him out because I knew he was up here and because I would recognise him with my eyes closed, but he can't see me yet. Besides, I don't really look much like I did the last time he saw me. And I'm out of context. He won't be expecting to find me here at all. I smile to myself, pleased at the surprise. I'm not here to coerce you, I say. Not really my scene either. Thought you'd know that. I take a few steps closer, teasing it out. He sounds amused.
"Do I know you? I don't think I saw you downstairs. Are you one of Hagen's new girls?"
I shake my head. I guess Hagen is the arrogant prick with the blonde flick. I don't think he likes me very much. I kind of blagged my way in. He laughs, then flicks his cigarette over the wall, turning to watch it fall.
"I've never heard of anyone crashing one of Hagen's gatherings before. Most girls run a mile once they realise what goes on here."
And what about you? I say, taking a few more steps closer. I can see his face now, and I long to put my hands on his cheeks and pull him towards me to feel his soft lips on mine. Do you like what goes on here? His face darkens.
"Not really,"
he says under his breath.
but I'm pretty close to getting a job with the firm, and from what I can gather, this stuff is compulsory. This is my third time, and I've always just snuck up here and hidden in the corner for a while. I don't think anyone has realised that I don't partake.
He pauses, peers at me.
Are you sure I don't know you? There's something a bit familiar about you.
I smile and walk further over until I am only a short distance away from him. He can't fail to recognise me now. It's me, I say, tipping my head to the side and giving him a coquettish smirk. Violet. He looks confused for a moment.
I don't know anyone called Violet.
I take a step closer. Oh, sorry, I say. You didn't know me as Violet, did you? I slap my forehead with the heel of my hand. So silly. I got the new ID on the Kosam Road. I'd forgotten that was after you left me.
Ronnie? That's it, isn't it?
He says, shaking his head.
Jesus! Is that you? You fucking mad bitch. Stefan and Paulie told me I should have called the police on you, but I was worried you'd end up in one of those crazy Thai prisons. And no one deserves that, not even you.
It's my turn to look confused. You left me, Sam. We were happy.
We were nothing. You stalked me and tricked me into a one-night stand, and then you fucking robbed me.
You said we were going to travel together. He snorts.
Did I fuck? Bloody hell. Wait until the guys hear that you've turned up. How did you even find me?
The rage starts to bubble.
You're such a fucking narcissist, Sam. Checking in every place you go on Facebook. It's not hard to keep track. And you're a fucking fantasist. Jesus. Have you been keeping track on me since Bangkok?
I take a step closer, giving him my best smile. I flick my hair back, then I smooth down my dress. I raise an eyebrow, saying, "Look at what you're missing." He shakes his head.
What have you done to yourself? I barely recognise you. You know, I don't think Hagen is going to like it much that you've crashed in here. He'll try to put you to work. You should go.
He shuffles back a bit on the wall, and I see from the look on his face that he's not comfortable with me showing up like this. Fair enough. Maybe I should have messaged him first to let him know, but then what would be the fun in that? His look changes again, and I realise it's not discomfort. It's fear. Good. I gave him a chance to be nice to me. I gave him a chance to want me.
Look, what do you want, Ron?
Violet. It's Violet. You know what I want. I want to take everything. I pause, then lower my voice. Don't I, Courtney? He shifts on the wall once more.
Who the fuck is Courtney?
I smile at him. Courtney Love's voice fills my head. The song, my namesake, keeps playing in my head, and I forget that only I can hear it. He's still looking at me with that mixture of fear, confusion, and revulsion as I take a final step forwards and push him hard in the chest. It's so quick.
I don't think he even remembers to scream. I lean over the wall and peer down, but it's too far away for me to see what's down there. Too far, even, for me to notice anything other than the heavy, liquid slap as his body lands on the concrete. It's his own fault. If he'd even been slightly pleased to see me, he might have lived. I was ready to front it out, walk back to the glass stairs and through the sleazy party, but I noticed that further along there are a couple of steps up and over the wall leading to the fire escape. This has all been less satisfying than I'd hoped. Ignoring the sounds of grunts and moans behind me, it's clear that no one has noticed what just happened, so I take the opportunity and climb over the wall and onto the iron fire escape beneath. It's a lot of floors, but I figure that no one's going to be looking for me just yet. I take my phone out of my bag and open up Facebook, clicking unfollow on Sam's profile. Then I start to make my way down the stairs, barely noticing the descent because my body is so pumped full of adrenaline that I am both shaking and numb. 2. Carrie82@hotmail.com. From rosieposey1985@gmail.com. Subject: Hi. Mum says you're on some retreat thing and you might not get this. Don't know if you're planning on coming home this year, but just in case you are, I'm getting married. Fancy being a bridesmaid? Grin. R. Kiss. P.S. Don't take the piss. Be happy for me. Chapter 37. I sleep like I am dead. And when I wake, it takes me a moment to work out where I am. My head is fuzzy, but not from alcohol. I felt like this in Russia, too, after it happened. After all those things happened. My first instinct is to aim for oblivion again, but it's starting to wear thin even for me. It's temporary at best, and when it goes, I'm back to where I started. There's another option, of course, a more permanent one, but I'm not sure if I am ready for that. People say that suicide is selfish, but that's only if you have anyone to leave behind. Who's going to care about me when I'm gone? I'd thought that I still had Daddy, but even he now seems to be tiring of me, pandering to the whims of my mother, listening to her lies about me. I was never who she accused me of being. It's almost as if she wanted me to be bad so that she could justify to herself why she was a useless excuse for a mother. I feel nothing for her now, and my feelings for him are waning. And there is no one else. I never expected to be alone in this world. As a child, I'd imagined a big family full of fun and laughter, bickering over Christmas dinner, falling out with my siblings and then making up, knowing that they would always be there for me, no matter what. But I never had any siblings. My mother made sure of that. I suppose I've been subconsciously seeking out that love ever since, confusing friendship and family, becoming obsessed, I suppose, although I am loath to admit it.
The truth is, I have been let down by everyone I've come into contact with. That's hardly my fault now, is it? I dragged myself out of bed and into the shower, dressing quickly in one of the more muted outfits I bought when I arrived. Dark jeans, red Converse, a striped vest, and a neat grey cotton jacket on top. I tie my hair back and stuff it into a baseball cap, and don a pair of sunglasses that block out most of my face. I'm invisible now, as I head through the foyer and into the street. I am not the glamour girl from before. There is no reason for anyone to notice me. Back in the same hair salon, I can't help myself. My friendly stylist from before is not on duty. I feel a prickle of disappointment, but I blink it away. It's for the best. I shouldn't even have come back here. The allocated stylist is punky and bored-looking. He ignores my attempts at conversation. He doesn't care who I am. I point at an image in a magazine, chosen entirely at random from the first page I'd opened it at, and he raises his expertly penciled brows just for a moment, and then he shrugs and gives me something close to a smile. I've piqued his interest now, and he tries to engage me, but I stick my nose back in the magazine and ignore him. I get through the process, cut, colour, rinse. A young girl in a candy-pink dress with Goldilocks-style plaits sweeps away my blonde hair, and I don't look in the mirror again until it's done.
"Do you like it?"
the stylist says, holding up a mirror so I can see the back. He's grinning now, pleased with his work.
"I really like it."
I stare at myself in the mirror. At the black, sweeping fringe edged with a neon pink tint. I turn my head side to side, taking in the swept-back sides that blend into the shaved back. I blink, not quite able to believe it. I've had many transformations, but none quite so bold. I want to laugh at how ridiculously un-me it is, but on the other hand, it's absolutely perfect. No one is going to link me to that blonde from the rooftop sex party. No way. Danke, I say. It's perfect. It's only when I pull out my purse to pay that I realise I've lost my new bank card. Shit. Luckily, I took the extra precaution of withdrawing a load of cash, so I pay, leaving him a generous tip, and head out of the shop, trying to keep the panic that is beating a loud, rhythmic drum in my chest. I think about heading back to the bank for a replacement card, but worry that this would be too conspicuous after only getting it yesterday. And I worry about where I might have dropped it. I know I had it when I went out last night because I used it to pay the cab there, but I walked back, winding through the streets, trying not to draw attention to myself. I didn't want a cabbie to remember picking me up from near that place. If I dropped the card in the rooftop bar, then there's a good chance that it's been found. And if it's been found, there's a good chance that someone might already be looking for me. 2. Carrie82@hotmail.com. From lauralee@gmail.com. Subject: Where are you? Carrie! Please call me. I'm so scared for you. I know you're not with her now, but she's all over the news. You were right to be suspicious. Her name's not Violet. Her real name is Veronica Delaunay, and she is extremely dangerous. They've been looking for her for almost 2 years. She's killed people, Carrie. She's been on the run, but they'll find her. They found her ID and bank card, and they know she's in Berlin. Please reply as soon as you get this. I'm scared that she's going to come looking for you. Please call me. Please come home. L. Kiss, kiss. Chapter 38. I don't want to go back to the hotel yet, so I walk back from the salon a different way and end up on the edge of the famous Tiergarten, the huge park in the west of the city centre famous for nude sunbathers, secluded gardens and a pretty boating lake. I remember coming here with my parents on that trip so long ago, and it feels like fate that I should end up here. I was too young to care much about the bar when I was younger, but I remember it vividly. I check the signs to make sure I am going the right way, and then I hurry into the park, the trees screening the sounds of traffic nearby, and by the time I have been walking for a few minutes, it feels like I'm a million miles away. Maybe my bank card is back in the hotel, and I'm overreacting. I have enough cash to keep me going for now, so I decide not to worry about it for a while. The sunlight tries to push through the thick canopy of trees, but the light fades as I go further into the woods. Shadows dance on hidden sculptures, and the place seems to fall silent for a moment, and I stop to take a breath. I look up at the sky through the clearing and have a sudden feeling of claustrophobia, as if the branches reaching up are beginning to change direction, swirling and winding, seeking me out, ready to grab me and smother me in their wooden embrace. And then the sounds return. Birds chirruping in the trees, the scurrying of small animals in the undergrowth, and a flurry of voices carrying on the wind. I blink, rub my face with my hands. Get a grip. Then I start walking again, quickly, over a small bridge and towards the sound of the voices. When I come out of the trees, the world returns. A road nearby, and on the other side, the bar that I remember, long wooden tables, fairy lights strung across trees. The tables are filled with the after-work crowd, mingling with tourists, drinking steins of cold pale beer and eating pizza. I take a breath and feel calmer at last. I follow a couple into the self-service area and get myself a beer and a pretzel, then head out to find a good place to sit and reflect. I have to work out what to do next. Staying in Berlin isn't really an option now, after what happened at the rooftop bar. But for once, I am at a loss as to where to go. I wish I could go home. Move back in with my parents. Shut myself away for a while. But from my conversation with Daddy, I don't think I'm welcome. I suppose it's no real surprise that he's given up on me, just like everyone else. I take a bite of the pretzel, enjoying the soft, salty warmth. Then I wash it down with a glug of ice-cold beer and take Carrie's laptop out of my bag. The photo on the wallpaper is of the two of us on the train, taken on our first night, and the only photo of us that I think there is. I run a hand across Carrie's face and wish that things had turned out differently. I'd thought we were so alike that first night in Beijing. But it turns out we weren't alike at all. She just wanted fun, no matter the risk, no matter who got trampled along the way. I'd wanted a friend. More than that, I'd wanted someone to love me. I click open the photos folder and delete the picture, then empty the trash. Then I gaze across the lake at the couples laughing, rowing their boats, having fun together. Carrie would like it here, I think. I take another sip of my beer, and I try to block out the chatter around me, zoning out, as I remember the last time I saw her. She'd grabbed me from behind, trying to pin my arms to my sides, trying to stop me from smashing Sergei in the face with the lamp. He'd staggered back, and I pushed, and she'd pulled, and it was an accident. But it was her fault. I close my eyes. "Violet, stop!" Carrie screams in my ear. She's yanking at my t-shirt, and I shrug her off, but she won't stop. Sergei is stumbling, trying to right himself. There is a lot of blood from where I've hit him on the back of the head, and he reaches a hand up, touches it, looks confused. He is muttering something in Russian, but even in another language it sounds garbled and nonsensical. He is almost at the balcony. Carrie is on my back, gripping me like a monkey. "Violet, you need to stop." Her weight causes me to lurch forwards, and I almost lose my footing, but I throw out my arms to break my fall, and I connect with Sergei's chest, and he flies back, colliding with the low wall of the balcony. The wall is too low. I said this to Carrie when we arrived. It's dangerous, this low wall. It's a health and safety concern. Just one of many in that horrible place. The shock of the impact causes Sergei to awaken from his stupor, momentarily at least, and he rises up to his full height, his face contorted in anger. "You fucking bitch!" he shouts, and I lunge forwards, lifting a shoulder hard at the same time, and I feel a huge weight lift off me as Carrie loses her grip and crashes to the floor. I barrel into him like a charging bull, and I hit him just in the right place. His arms windmill as he falls back, realizing that there is nothing behind him. And he bends in half and topples over the balcony. After a moment, there is a wet, crunching sound as gravity deals with this rotten apple of a man. Not a man. An animal. A wolf. I'm relieved that the hotel is practically deserted. I peer over the edge and see the lump of flesh and bone on the concrete below. There's no way he can have survived that fall. I take a step back and let out a long, slow breath. "It's okay," I say quietly. "He's gone, Carrie. He can't hurt you anymore." No answer. I turn, expecting to see her crying on the floor, but that's not what I see. She is on the floor, but she is not crying. She's not moving. Her face is turned away from me, a small pool of blood forming on the floor where she has hit her head on the edge of the bedside cabinet. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. Carrie is dead. A creak brings me back to the present. Movement on the bench as someone sits down at the other end, a little distance away from me. I open my eyes and wipe away my tears. I never meant for that to happen. Of all the things, I never meant for that. I can see the new arrival out of the corner of my eye. A young woman in a long floral dress, floppy sun hat and huge shades. She seems to be alone. Can I risk another friendship? Perhaps. But I have to sort out some admin first. I open the email app on the laptop and scroll back up to the top of the list. To the most recent email from Laura to Carrie. It must have come in while I was in the hair salon. Her real name is Veronica Delauny, and she is extremely dangerous. I laugh out loud. I can't help it. The stupid cow still thinks she's talking to Carrie. I type a reply to the message. What's with the dramatic caps, Loz? It's fine. I am safe. Then I delete it and type instead. My name is Violet, my dear Laura. And they will never find me. I delete this too, then snap the lid of the laptop shut. I'll deal with it later. Too nice an evening to be working, right? I turn towards the voice. The girl in the sundress. She's taken off her sunglasses and placed them on the table. You're right there, I say. I love your dress, by the way. Oh, thank you. She grins and her whole face lights up. She's younger than I first thought. Her English is perfect, but with the hint of an accent. Not German, Swedish, maybe. I see a lock of white blonde hair poking out from under her hat and think that I'm probably right. I keep looking at her dress. I'm Daisy, I say, reaching out a hand. Like your dress? That is so cool. I love floral names. I'm Annie. Like the orphan, she laughs. My mother wanted to call me Violet, I say, but my father thought it was too dark. She laughs again. They are a bit sinister, aren't they? Daisies are beautiful, though. Sunny and bright and perfect. She grins, and then she turns away at the sound of her name being called from another table. Nice to meet you, she says, gathering up her sunglasses and her bag. My colleagues are over there. I didn't even see them. I swallow back my disappointment. Have a lovely evening, I say. I hear her laughing when she reaches her friends, and I want to run over there and grab her and shake her and scream. But I don't. I glance around at the groups of people, at the couples, looking for someone else who might be more promising, someone else alone. I see a woman with long dark hair poking out from a cowboy hat, sitting with her denim jacketed back to me a few tables away. I pause, glancing around, but she's the best candidate, the only candidate. Then I pick up my things. I'm going to go to the toilet, and then I'll get myself another drink, and if she's still alone when I return, I will go over and join her. 2. lauralee@gmail.com. From carrie82@hotmail.com. Subject: chill. Laura, don't panic. Really, I told you, I'm not with her. It doesn't matter who she is or what she's done. Well, it does matter, but really, I am fine, I promise. I'm trying to decide where to go next. I know you want me to come home, but I'm not ready. Honestly,
I am having a ball. I've made loads of new friends. I wish you could meet them. Maybe when you're all healed, you can come out and meet me for a holiday. To be honest, I don't think I'm coming back. Love you, Loz. Carrie. Kiss, kiss. 2. Laura.McLean@exonservices.com. From Carrie.Osborne@btinternet.com. Subject: The eagle has landed. She's here. She hasn't spotted me yet, but it's only a matter of time. I've got everything set up. Talk to you later, when it's done. C. Chapter 39. The girl in the denim jacket is still alone when I return with another beer. I hesitate, just for a moment. Do I really need to talk to another girl right now? Maybe I should look for a man instead. I'd thought a friendship was what I needed more than a lover, and I'd even thought that Carrie might become both, but things aren't going to plan. And maybe it's time for a break. I can't see her face. It's obscured by her long hair, her head tipped forwards as she types fast on her phone. A frantic conversation by the looks of it, or a rant. I walk closer and see that in front of her on the table is an ice bucket with a bottle of something fizzy, beads of condensation running down the sides. 2 flutes and 1 pretzel sitting expectantly on a plate. She's waiting for someone. I almost walk away. I do a quick scan, looking for another likely candidate, but everyone else is in couples or groups, and I never join a group if I can help it, far too risky. She drops the phone on the table and sighs dramatically. Perhaps she's been stood up. I take it as my cue. Mind if I sit here? She doesn't look up. Sure, go ahead. She has an Irish accent, northern, I think. Something about it is familiar, but I blink it away. She uses a nail to slice the foil on the bottle, twists it off and rolls it into a ball, then sets about untwisting the wire mesh. I sit down opposite her, put my beer on the table, and try not to stare. She's wearing a straw cowboy hat with a black rim, huge amber-tinted sunglasses. Her hair is dark and sleek. From the angle, I can't see her face at all. I'm not going to be pushy. I open my bag and take out Carrie's laptop and place it down in front of me, but I don't open it yet. I take a sip of beer, try to be casual. I'll wait until she talks to me, because if she does, then I'll know I was right to come over. Her hands are working on the cork, and she mutters something under her breath. And I have this sudden flashback to the night I met Carrie, and her accents, and... She lifts her head, just as the cork releases with a loud pop, and I see her face for the first time. Even with the sunglasses and the hair and the hat, I'm not going to fail to recognize those lips. Her perfect rosebud mouth. My own mouth falls open in shock. The pop of the cork has given me another flashback, this time to Brad and his fancy hotel, blood pooling under his face on the posh carpet. I blink. She takes off her sunglasses and hangs them on the front of her loose t-shirt, exposing smooth, milky skin. I stare,
open-mouthed as she plonks the hat on the table, slides the dark wig off her head and shakes her own shorter blonde hair loose. "Surprise," Carrie says, grinning. "Nice laptop. I used to have one like that, but some fucker stole it." Her Scottish accent is back, and it's dripping with venom. You're supposed to be dead.
That's right, Violet. Don't make a scene now. Christ, you took your time. I thought for a minute you weren't going to come over.
She leans across the table, whispers, "You thought I was dead. You didn't check, though, did you? I woke up in the stinking boot of that ladder, face pressed into your man Sergei. I'd thought he was decent at the party, but he was a right shady fucker as it happened. You did me a favour sorting him out, so I thank you for that. Although you did take your time, to be fair, you let him get his filthy cock inside me before you caved in his skull. He wasn't so good looking after being launched off that balcony, I can tell you that." I lean back from her, shocked, unable to take it in. I didn't push him. He fell. Course he did. Just like I did when I tried to stop you from pushing him or battering him to a pulp with that lamp. Hit my head on the bedside cabinet. Even I thought I was a goner. You know you're meant to check breathing as well as pulse. I can't get the words out. He carried you downstairs. Out the fire escape, I took your bag. Well, it was my bag, as it turned out. Ivan was grabbing things and tossing them in. I got confused with all the commotion. Didn't realise until I woke up later. Anyway, I took it and walked past reception with it, shorts on, sweatshirt, hood up. Not hard to pass myself off as you. I knew the receptionist wouldn't be paying attention. She rolls her eyes, mocking me, and it lights the touch paper. My shock soon morphs into embarrassment and anger. I ball my hands into tight little fists. I don't like to be made a fool of. My voice is cold, flat. I need to deal with this now. I assumed Ivan would have made sure. You picked a dud there, love. Turns out he actually was Ivan the Terrible after all. Terrible at doing your dirty work. Should have seen his face when he opened the boot and I leapt out. We came to a wee arrangement, though. I'd say nothing about the body with a hit like a burst watermelon in his boot. He'd let me go, as long as I paid him 50,000 rubles and disappeared. You were never to find out, of course, until I saw what you were up to. That first email you sent to Laura almost gave you away. I nod, calm again now. I know I've messed up. It was a risk, and it could have paid off, but it didn't. I realised that. I was terrified that I'd given myself away straight off. Then she replied, and I thought it was okay. She was suspicious, but I got to her fast. I spoke to her. I told her we'd just have to come up with a wee plan of our own. If you were pretending to be me, then I would pretend to be her. She gave me her email login, and the two of us kept in touch via different email addresses and on the phone. I'm not sure what you were hoping to achieve pretending to be me. Maybe just to give you enough time to detach yourself from me, so that when people at home sussed out that it wasn't me writing those emails, you'd be long gone. Tell me, Violet. Tell me, because I am genuinely interested in how your psychopathic brain actually works. Something occurs to me, and I realise what an idiot I've been. How my plan was flawed from the start. How did you know I was here? Carrie barks out a laugh. She nods towards the laptop, her laptop. You kept that, but you forgot to disconnect it from the cloud. Ivan gave me my phone, and I was still connected to it via the cloud. I kept expecting you to notice, to realise what was going on. If I hadn't had my phone, I don't think I could have done it, not without another device backup. I told you Ivan was an idiot. Find My device is much more accurate than tracking people via their Facebook check-ins. I smirk. I still have an ace up my sleeve. I read your drafts, Carrie. I know what you did. Her face clouds for a moment, and then she looks down, won't meet my eye. What I did was an accident. I doubt Greg sees it like that. She lifts her head and sighs. You're right, V. It's something I need to take care of. I know that. Things got out of hand. But you don't know Greg. You don't. You hit him! My voice is incredulous. She sighs again. Oh, I know exactly what I did, and I'm not proud of that. I've spent this whole trip feeling guilty, trying to block it all out. And it's something I'll have to face when I get back. But it's something I will face. I'm not running away from it. I know I did something wrong, but you don't seem to know the difference between right and wrong. You pushed a man off a balcony. You thought you'd killed me, too. I'm pretty sure you don't have the moral high ground here. I was angry and upset, betrayed. I lashed out, but you... I don't have to listen to this. I stand up, but she leans across the table, reflex quick, and grabs my wrist. Sit down. I'm too shocked to respond, and I fall back heavily onto the bench. The man sitting at the far end says something in German, and he and his companion laugh, but I ignore them. You know you dropped your ID near where they found Sam. Jesus, what did that bloke even do? Did you actually know him, V? Or was he just one of your mad obsessions? I told you, I don't want to talk about Sam. She slams a fist on the table. Sam is dead. They're looking for you, V. They'll find you. They'll never find me. She smirks. You know, she says, pouring champagne into the two flutes. It's funny that I always called you V, like I actually knew that your name wasn't Violet. I pick up the bottle and take a long swig. So what happens now? Well, you killed me, remember? Then you pretended to be me. But you're not as bright as you think you are, Violet. Or should I say Veronica? Veronica Delaunay from Windlesby Manor in Surrey. I knew you were home county's spoiled rich trash, but I didn't expect this. Your poor parents. Daddy's a diplomat, isn't he? Not sure he's going to manage to get you out of this one. I imagine the paparazzi are already at the gates. I make a face. As if they care. Oh, have they disowned you? That wouldn't surprise me at all. I wonder if they even know what you're really like. She picks up her glass and downs the contents, refills it, and does the same.
Cheers!
She's smirking at me, and I don't like it. How dare she call me stupid? You've got no idea what I've done, what people have done to me. I've defended myself, that's all. I've done it many times and I'll do it again if I have to. People like you'll never understand what it's like. I pick up the champagne bottle, but I don't take a drink. A dark cloud crosses my vision and I zone out. A selection of interconnected scenes slot into my head, as clear as a cinema reel. Me swinging the bottle connecting with Carrie's face. Screams, blood, my arms being pinned behind me, sirens, police with guns, court, my mother's blank expression as she watches me from the dock. Prison. Perhaps prison wouldn't be so bad. Plenty of opportunities in there for someone resourceful like me. The sound of sirens jolts me back to life. I've taken too long. I turn around, scanning the exits, the bar, the other tables, but she's gone. I put the bottle back into the ice bucket. I can hear the sounds of car doors slamming, shouts. Running feet through the trees, I see the sun glinting on the boating lake, and I wonder if I have time. I can't swim, remember? This could be the perfect, sweet release. I stand up, smiling now. It's all going to be over soon enough. It takes me a moment to realize that people are being ushered away from their tables. Their drinks and food abandoned. There's a cacophony of chatter and fear. I catch a glimpse of a red rowing boat, an oar dipping into the cool water. Too late now.
Veronica Delorney?
Two armed police stand in front of me, their expressions stern. I should get them to call Daddy. I wonder if I'll get diplomatic immunity.
Veronica Delorney, you must come with us now.
Give me a minute. Surely another few moments won't make a difference now. I'm not going anywhere. I close my eyes, drifting off again. And I remember those big skies in the desert. Carrie's arms around me, her lips on mine. Violet, she'd whispered, I think I love you. The policemen are talking on their radios. They flank me on both sides, and one lays a surprisingly gentle hand on my arm. I turn to him and smile. She'd thought it, even just for a moment. I'll take that. It's Violet, I whisper, as I let them lead me away. My name is Violet. Epilogue. The daylight has faded to a smoky grey, the low-hanging clouds threatening rain. The harsh interior lighting of the concourse makes her wince as the automatic doors slide open. She glides her new wheeled suitcase towards the check-in desks, feeling light at last after finally ditching the rucksack. It had been a cheap buy from Mountain Warehouse, she and Laura buying the same ones in matching colours. Giggling as they'd picked up and put down the weird little camping and hiking trinkets on display near the tills. Laura's rucksack will still be pristine, probably still in the cellophane. She hopes they'll get a chance to use it together someday. Although she's not sure that another backpacking adventure is going to be on the cards for a long while yet. God, she misses Laura. Can't wait to take the piss out of her pale, scrawny leg free of the plaster cast at last. Just in time for her getting back home. There's so much she needs to share with Laura about everything. But there are some things that will have to stay locked away for good. Violet thought she knew the full story, reading those emails about Greg that she was never going to send. Yes, she did hit him. No, she's not proud of it. But after what happened, it was him or Laura who was going to have to face her rage, and she cared more about Laura. She didn't want to destroy their whole friendship over a man. Certainly not a man like Greg. That's why her fall had to look like an accident. "Where are you flying to?" the neatly made-up woman at the check-in desk asks. "Edinburgh," she says. "Oh, no, sorry, it's via London." The check-in woman smiles. "That's fine. I can see it's with one of our partners. I can check you straight through." She taps away on the keyboard, and Carrie examines the little sign with all the prohibited items on it. The gas canister reminds her of the day that she and Laura bought the rucksacks. Carrie had gone home to dump her shopping and get changed for their usual Friday night out. It was only a week until they were due to fly out on their trip of a lifetime. The message had pinged in while she was finishing her makeup, the phone sitting on her dressing table. She didn't recognize the name of the sender, and there was no profile photo. Normally, she would just delete messages like this, but something made her open it. A moment after that, the photo appeared. The thing was, she had never contemplated for a moment that something like this would happen. Laura wasn't even particularly keen on Greg, although it would appear from the photo that she'd changed her mind about that. The image was slightly blurred, taken at night under streetlights with that sort of grainy discoloration that sometimes happens. Maybe zoomed in, too, unless the sender was standing right next to them. Laura against a wall. Greg pushed up against her. You could interpret the image in many ways if you were so inclined, but the fact that his jeans are around his ankles and Laura's legs are wrapped around his back is a bit of a giveaway. She waits for him to come home from work. The timestamp on the photograph is from 2 weeks earlier, and she's no way of knowing if this was a one-off thing or not, but what hurts the most is that she remembers that night. She and Laura had been meant to go to the cinema, and Laura had texted last minute to say she was ill and couldn't make it. Carrie had decided not to go either, and with Greg apparently at a works night out, she'd had an early night and thought no more about it. By the time he arrives home, she's drunk 3/4 of a bottle of Bacardi that was in the back of a kitchen cupboard, and Greg's 6-pack of Stella from the fridge. She can barely remember hitting him. And if it hadn't been for the bruise on his cheek the next day, she would have convinced herself it didn't happen. He'd left then, and thankfully he'd decided not to tell anyone what happened. Laura was a different kettle of fish. She was jumpy and paranoid every time they met, and Carrie had tried to bring it up several times, trying to keep the anger at bay, knowing that it didn't matter anymore, now that she'd split with Greg. But really, everything was ruined. They'd had a lot to drink that night, on their own wee leaving do. The others had left early, leaving Carrie and Laura to stagger down the high street on their own. They'd been laughing and joking, and Carrie had almost forgotten what a cheating bitch her best friend was. But then she'd recognised the wall, something about the angle, the way the light hit it and left it in shadow. Here. Right here. Her best friend? And her boyfriend. The bastards. Pushing Laura down the steps had been a spur-of-the-moment decision. That split second when life can go one way or another. She'd thought she could forget the betrayal, but the fact that Laura still hadn't confessed was what pissed Carrie off in the end. Anyway, a broken leg can heal, just like a broken heart. And if it hadn't been for that moment, she'd never have ended up on this trip alone. She'd never have met Violet. Carrie smiles at the woman at the gate as she scans her boarding card. She's looking forward to going home. The trip has been fun, but completely removed from reality, and it's time she got back to it. She clicks on BBC News while walking along the gangway, and the headline jumps out at the top of the page. UK woman arrested in Berlin, suspected of multiple murders. Poor Violet. Or Veronica. Or whoever she really is. It's not often you get to hang out with a real-life psychopath and escape unscathed. Who knows who anyone really is, anyway? Sure, Carrie did a bad thing, a stupid thing, but she's been paying for it since. The unbearable guilt eating away at her, trying to swallow her whole. The only way to block it out was with drink and drugs and toying with Violet. She'd had no idea what she was dealing with there. She shudders. She's had a lucky escape. She slides into her seat, window near the back, and quickly checks her emails. There's one from Laura, from her alternative email address. They'd had to use covert ops while Violet had control of her real email. Well done, love. They got her. I was so worried. Please tell me you're on your way home. Can't wait to see you. Kiss. Carrie smiles and types a quick reply. On plane. Can't wait to see you too. Kiss. It's almost the truth. She is looking forward to seeing Laura again. She has been Carrie's best friend since they were 5 years old. They need each other. No one has to find out what really happened that night when Laura fell down the steps. If there's one thing Carrie has learned from Violet, it's that you can't always trust people, no matter how much you love them. Carrie herself turned Violet into the police without a second thought. You can't have people like that roaming the streets, can you? Seeing Violet that last time, drinking the champagne, Carrie had felt a weight lift off her. The fear and guilt she'd felt since she'd left home for the trip of a lifetime was grabbed by the bubbles and popped away. Hopefully, Laura's learned her lesson. She might even think she deserved to have that accident. Karma, the universe. But there's been no sign of an apology, no explanation. She said in one of her emails that she thought Greg was seeing someone else. Was that her way of trying to tell Carrie something? Was she waiting until Carrie got back home to confess all? Or was she going to stay silent, hoping that Carrie would never find out? Was it a one-off, or was it more? How long had it been going on? Carrie doesn't even know who sent the image or why. Was someone else out to hurt her? Carrie's chest flutters, and she feels a sudden urge to cry. It was easier to keep her emotions in check when she was filled to the brim with drink and drugs. Now, in this sober return to reality, the betrayal hits hard. A lump sticks in her throat and she has to cough to release it, to breathe. The voice on the tannoy tells everyone to turn off their electronic equipment for takeoff. She clicks her phone onto flight mode and leans back in her seat. Outside, the dark clouds have gathered, the day appearing like night, but for a slice of sunlight snaking through. It's going to be a bumpy ride, she thinks. Oh, Laura, what am I going to do with you? That is the end of Violet. It was written by S.J.I. Holiday and read by Imogen Church. This has been an ISIS Audiobooks presentation. Previous titles by this author, Willow Walk, The Lingering, are also available from ISIS. For further details of our extensive catalogue of unabridged audiobooks, please call our free phone number 0800 731 5637 or visit our website www.isis-publishing.co.uk.